Hey guys, did you know that God's Word, and we follow the 12 steps? If you look at the 12 steps that we use in Celebrate Recovery, the word we appears 14 times. There's no I in there, it's we. Um, and there's a big reason for that. When we are in recovery, I remember my first 1 day training that I went to with Celebrate Recovery, and I heard Pastor Rick Warren say this, and it stuck with me ever since. He said, "How do you know that you're in recovery?" He says, "Because when you take the focus off yourself and you put it on others, the I becomes we." Isn't that amazing? When we take the selfishness of Rodney and the dysfunction where I just wallow in my stuff, and trust me, I've been there. When I just wallow in my stuff, I'm pretty much selfish, and I'm thinking about I. And when I move into recovery mode and start this transformation process in my life, then God begins to change my I to we, and I have a passion and a heart to serve. Whether that's tearing down chairs, cleaning off tables, emptying out the trash, being a greeter, selling books at the resource desk, handing out desserts and coffee at Solid Rock Cafe, whatever it is, maybe the prayer team, I'm taking the focus off myself and I'm serving other people. I can remember a gentleman I was talking to some time back, and he was struggling. He was kind of in that selfish mode. And I asked him, I said, "Bro, where are you serving? Where are you serving?" And he said, "I'm not serving anywhere." I said, "That's a big problem, because when we're not serving, it's all about us." And then we fall back into those old ways that we've been into to get us in this mess. So we've got to find some place to serve. And he started doing that, and I began to see him change his way of thinking. Number one, he didn't focus on himself and kind of stay in pity party mode. He started focusing on others and praying for others and serving others and bringing hope to others, even in the midst of his journey. And God began to do something in him. And the same thing has happened to me. When I start focused on me, I kind of get stuck and wallow in my stuff. So the greatest examples in John chapter 13, verse 14 through 15. This is a Living Bible translation. Jesus says, "And since I, the Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet." He's basically saying, guys, my whole time of ministry here on earth, it comes down to this one thing. Are you ready? I'm going to wrap this up. This is good stuff. I'm going to wash your feet. And we're talking about disgusting feet. I mean, they didn't have shoes like we have. They had sandals that were just, quite frankly, very disgusting. Very dirty feet. And that job was set aside for the lowest of low stature. I mean, people that wash feet were the lowest of low. And here Jesus is, after everything he's done, he knows this is going to be his last conversation with his 12 disciples. He says, "Guys, I'm grabbing a towel, I'm grabbing some water, I'm going to wash your disgusting feet." Now, he didn't say disgusting, but it was disgusting. And so he's saying, "I've given you an example now to follow. Do as I have done to you." Isn't that amazing to think about? He's saying, don't focus on yourself. That is where you fall into this dysfunction. That is where the garbage starts to creep back in your life. I'm blessing you. I need you to be a blessing to others. Some of you have heard me use this example before. I heard it from a fellow worship pastor. He talked about the sponge analogy. If you take a sponge and you fill it up with water, that sponge is going to soak up that water. But what happens if that sponge just sits there? If you don't wring that sponge out, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to get very stinky, and it's going to rot, and it's just going to smell and just be disgusting. And that's the way it is in our recovery. In this recovery mode, we're being filled up. But in order to keep being filled up with His goodness and continuing to be blessed in our life, and I'm not talking about financial or material things, I'm just talking about that inner peace and that joy, that everlasting joy that we talk about in recovery. I have to wring out the sponge, and then I fill up and I wring it out again. I fill up and I wring it out. It keeps the sponge fresh and keeps it from rotting and smelling. The way I ring it out is I serve and I give back to other people. I say yes to serve. I'm going to change my I to we so that I can experience true recovery and get back on the right path in my life. James talks a lot about being doers of word. He said, do not merely listen to the word, okay, listen to what it says, but then do it. Do what it says. He said, if someone merely listens to the word and doesn't do what it says, he's like a man that looks at his face in the mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. And he's telling us, be a doer of the word. Take what you have seen, what you have heard, what you have learned. I'm blessing you. I'm telling you, I've given you an example. I need you to go do that with other people and for other people. Guys, Celebrate Recovery is a ministry where we need volunteers. So it's a two-sided street here. I need, as a leader of Celebrate Recovery, I need people around me to help. I can't do all these things. I'm not capable of doing it. We're in big trouble if I'm doing it as a ministry leader. So we need volunteers to do the prayer team, the greeter, the usher, the resource, the solid rock team, the barbecue team, the cleanup, the setup, all that stuff that we're talking about. But you need it just as much as I need it in my personal recovery. You need it to be in recovery, to take it from an I to a we. And so we're starting this new way of introducing how to serve. We're calling it Say Yes to Serve. We've got it on our website at fellowshipnwa.org. There's a link on our blog here. Click on there and there's a way you can sign up online. You can click the areas that you want to serve in and we can rotate you in and out from the barbecue team to the greeter team, whatever. We're going to have different team leaders for each area. Because we want people to take ownership of different areas and really form a community within a community of these different service areas. So find a way to serve. We're trying to make it easier to find a way to serve. We're taking it away from me and putting it on some team leaders that can own specific areas so that you can get connected with a way to serve and be in this process of recovery to change your I and me to we. We are in recovery together, and I'm going to serve you, and I'm going to wash your feet through the greeter or through the usher, the resource, or whatever. All right? Be a doer of the word, and we will greatly appreciate you saying yes to serve so this ministry can keep thriving and blessing and changing and transforming so many lives through Celebrate Recovery, Jesus Christ's healing power. But so that you can continue your growth process. If you find yourself in a funk, ask yourself, where am I serving? Am I giving back? Is my sponge starting to rot? Maybe it's time to wring it out and then fill up and wring it out by giving back to other people.